Welcome to a first of many editions of the Coaches Corner, where we will be interviewing Dean coaches about their team and asking the questions you, the Dean community, want answered. I'm Reed Becker, and today we're joined by Dean football head coach Andrae Murphy. First, coach, thank you for joining us today. Now, early in the season, 1-1 is the record coming into today. What's your thoughts on the performance of your team so far?
Obviously, we'd like to be 2-0 at this point, but 1-1 is better than we were last year, so we're definitely happy about that. Not happy with the performance last week, but we take a mindset of being 1-0 each week, so that's where we're at right now.
Now, for you, second season as a head coach here at Dean, what's something maybe you learned about yourself from last year that you could try to bring with you this year to try to improve individually?
Just the importance of the right people around you, the right kids in the program. I tell people all the time, even though I was in the military, I think winning a football game is probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. The amount of detail and work it takes into it. So
What about you mentioned the military? Expand on that because to a regular any other person, you would think the military more than just a game.
yeah, I mean, the military, it's different, I think, from the perspective of the type of person you have. When you're in the military, those guys are there. They know they're there for a purpose. There's a lot less distractions when you're in Afghanistan than you might have to deal with your typical college student. So
Mm.
I think that's the biggest difference. I mean, being able to kind of depress yourself or decompress yourself from the military mindset. If that were the case in the military, it would be a lot different. But in college, you go back to your dorm room, you can play games, you have your girlfriends and your family there.
You mentioned all the distractions then as a difference here at college. So, from your experience then overseas, what's the message you try to give your players to try to not have that distraction for them?
I think the biggest thing is obviously there's a difference between going to war and playing a football game, but
Mm-hmm.
just focusing on the details and the training aspect of it. In the military, we're really big on training, and the thought process is to make it a little easier when you're in those hostile environments. So getting our guys to focus day in and day out, but then having them understand like no one's gonna die if you don't, but you're not gonna get the end result on Saturdays.
Now, back on the football field, Austin Roy was named the Division III Football Team of the Week and ECFC Defensive Player of the Week as well recently. What's your reaction to seeing those for him?
Extremely happy for Austin. He's a great kid. He's a hard worker, one of the leaders on our team, and it's nice to see him get that recognition. Last year, in my first year here, he came into camp a little late, and so I think that played a role in people not knowing as much about him. But I think a big part of his success also came from the fact that we have a guy like Joe Penton lining up on the other side, and teams kind of knowing who he is and game planning to try to limit his success on the field. So it opened things up for Austin.
You mentioned him coming in last year late, people not maybe knowing much about him. How would you best describe him to get for the Dean community to get to know him for some that might not really have gotten to see him as much then?
He's pretty steady. You know, he's always smiling, pretty happy, hard worker. He loves his program, loves the school, and we're glad that he's here with us.
Now, you also had another player of yours, Kevin Smith, Jr., ECFC co-rookie of the week as well recently. What's your reaction for him?
Super excited. Kevin's from Florida. He's from South Florida. His high school is actually about 4 or 5 miles away from the high school that I went to. So he's one of a couple guys that we went down there this offseason and pulled up. So it's pretty cool to see someone from back at home having success so early. You know, it's tough as a freshman to play, let alone to play at the level he did. I think he had 11 tackles in his first college football game, so he set the bar
Mm-hmm.
pretty high for himself. But we're excited as well to see what he can do over the next 4 years.
Now, freshmen on this team as well, going off of that, have shown some of their skill sets so far. Dyrese Smith and Zay Collier so far, to name a few. What's been your early impressions of them in game action?
Those guys are dynamic players, and when they get the ball in their hands, they do special things. So it's our jobs as coaches to get the ball into their hands. That we lost a couple really good receivers this past year, but I don't think we've taken a step back at all with those two stepping up.
Coming into the game for tomorrow, you have Buffalo State. What's the keys for the win tomorrow?
We just got to play physical, got to play tough. We're going to have to overcome adversity at some point throughout the game. I got a lot of respect for Coach Morgan at Buffalo State. We've been able to talk a lot over the past couple months as we've gotten this schedule. So I got a lot of respect for those guys. They're a tough physical team. they've started off 0-2, but it's not because they don't have the ability. I think they play an extremely tough conference. They have some really good non-conference games, and they're going to be chasing after their first win and his first win as a head coach there. So I've been in that seat. I know what those guys are thinking. I know what he's thinking, and I know that they're going to come ready to play.
What's the message to the team coming into this one to get back in the win column?
I told those guys, don't let Coach Morgan at Buffalo State have a Gatorade shower on our field. That's the name of the game for us. No, just come out and compete and play the way we did week 1 as opposed to last week against Nichols. And I think if we do that and we overcome that adversity throughout the game, we're going to be just fine.
Does the game plan at all change, or in this game with tomorrow, obviously the weather, expecting the outskirts of the hurricane, rain and wind, does that affect you guys at all?
Not as much as you would think. I think we're going to get pretty lucky. We're not going to get it as bad as some of the guys on the coast. I know it's going to be pretty windy, so we'll have to see how we're going to adjust with that. But we have a pretty solid game plan. I think Buff State, this kind of fits their MO. They like to run the football and play defense, and we like to play defense and establish the run as well. So.
Now, let's finish up here with some quick rapid fire for the Dean community to get to know Coach Murphy on a personal level as well.
All right, let's go.
What's the pregame meal?
Pre-game meal is for me or for the team?
Both. You, and then you could say the team if you want.
I'm a big French toast guy. When we play these early noon games, we go to breakfast, French toast and sausage, and I think we'll have probably pancakes for those guys as well.
Do you also have maybe a pregame snack before you head out onto the field?
Oh, yeah, I'll chug a Rockstar energy drink. It's probably not good for
How
me.
many?
Oh, just one. Just one. One on game day, yeah, one.
What's your pregame song to get fired up?
Oh, man, this is a good one. A couple of players asked me this the other day. It's actually surprising. So it's I'm Real by J-Lo. I don't know why. It's a song that I used to listen to when I worked out all the time, and it's just stuck with me.
What would you say was your favorite football team growing up?
New York Jets. I've been a New York Jets fan since I can remember. And growing up in South Florida, that's been pretty miserable.
New York South, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly, yep. So I love the Jets. I was excited about Rodgers for about 5 minutes, and now it's Charlie Mike. It's on to the next.
What's your prediction for the Jets the rest of the year?
Oh, man. I'll just be happy if they go 8-8. But I've kind of lost hope on it.
Do you trust Zach Wilson?
Yeah, you have to trust QB. He's QB1. You got to trust him. But I think that they did a good job building a roster around. So just run the football and play defense.
How did you become a Jets fan in South Florida?
The fans, I think, in South Florida kind of turned me to that. I don't like the Miami Dolphins and how they believe that they're great. And I didn't know the Jets were as bad as they were when I decided to be a Jets fan. I actually used to be a Patriots fan prior to that, not knowing anything about the New England Patriots.
You went the opposite direction of Belichick.
Yeah, I missed them by a couple years, too, so I missed all the Super Bowls and all the greatness. But, yeah, growing up, that's been my team.
Were there no Giants fans down there?
Not a lot of them.
Because that's also New York as well.
Yeah, not a lot of Giants fans. I think it was more so the rivalry also that
Right.
the Dolphins and the Jets have. And a lot of my uncles and cousins, they're all Dolphin fans, so I had to go with the opposite.
You're trapped in a foxhole. Who are you taking with you to get out?
On our team or
Sure.
in general? In general, I got a bunch of buddies in the Army that I've had to rely on. On our team, I take everybody. We're one team. And so we're a family. We fight, and I would have all of those guys with me.
Ice cream flavor.
Rocky Road.
What would you say was your least favorite subject in school or class?
At least anything math related. I'm a big history guy. I love history. I love English, but I'm not really great with the numbers.
Biggest pet peeve?
Biggest pet peeve is probably, I don't know. Biggest pet peeve, that's a good one. I'm not a fan of when my dog poops on the floor. Yeah, that happens at the worst time.
How often?
Oh, he's a good dog. So probably 2 or 3 times in the last year. He's been sick.
Ice cream flavor?
For the dog or for
You.
me? Rocky Road.
You give ice cream to the dog?
Oh, no. Rocky Road, yep.
And then 2 more before we jump. Team clown, you would say, on your team?
Probably DJ Pamplin. Just looking at him, he always gets me going. He's a great kid. He's funny. We have a lot of fun at practice and dancing around and everything.
And lastly, on your team, in a zombie apocalypse, who would be the first to go and first to survive?
Ooh, zombie apocalypse first to go. I probably have to say first to go would be Dre Kid. I'm just going to say that one just because I know it's going to bother him a little bit. He's going to come see me about it. And the person to survive, I'd probably have to say my man Denzi. He finds a way to get it done. Yeah, definitely.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for your time. Good luck tomorrow against Buffalo State. That's all the time we have for today. And stay tuned for more down the road of the Coach's Corner. But for now, I'm Reed Becker, and have a great night.